I almost fainted at the gym today. And as I'm sitting here talking to you guys, I still kind of feel woozy and dizzy and just lethargic and very weak. I've just had food. So that probably breaks, I don't know, man, what time is it now? Probably breaks a 16, 17 hour fast. Something like 16-hour fast. Now, when I say fast, it wasn't like just hardcore water fast. When I got up from the night shift, it was around, I think, like 2 o'clock or something like this, 1:30. So I slept between 8 to 1. So was that 5.5 hours? Got up and I had good intentions to eat something, but I had a whole bunch of things to do and I ran out of time. I ended up taking a handful of chopped up rock melon that I just kind of put in my mouth. Did the things that I needed to do, finally got to the gym and I felt quite good. And I was telling my cameraman, like, these are the days that I actually feel kind of weirdly strong. Like, I can't anticipate the strength that comes from a fast, but I've had lots and lots of experience, and I've certainly talked on here about a lot of these experiences where I come in not feeling great, completely fasted, like 10, 16, 15 hours fasting, whatever, and I end up doing quite well. The plan today was to do some deficit deadlifts. I ended up getting to 240 on the deficit, which I've never done before. This is the best I've ever done. Came down to 220, and I did 3 lots of 3. So definitely felt strong. But that last set of 3, man, like, that took a lot out of me. And I think that's where everything kind of changed for me. Throughout the deadlift portion of the workout, I felt good. And then I started squatting, and my Lord, like, I just started getting woozy, dizzy, just like really weak. That last rep of that 3x3 really took it out of me. Like I said, I was feeling fine up until then. And then I think I did the 60 kilo for 1 front squat, went to 100, and I walked that thing out, and all of a sudden, man, like, I don't think I've ever had this happen before to me, and certainly not with the bar in my hands. I lost my vision. I just went all black, and I don't know how I walked that thing back to the rack, but I walked it back to the rack. Thank God for that, because I was in 2 minds about dropping the thing, and I just kind of had enough in me to kind of walk it back. But my vision started, like, that tunnel vision. I started kind of almost like I don't know, we call it a pre-syncopal thing, pre-syncopal episode at, medical kind of jargon, but essentially it's like pre-fainting, right? So automatically, squatted down, whatever. I kind of got a ride with it. Took a bit of a break, and I decided to go again, because in that moment, I thought to myself, maybe I just put the front rack too high and I kind of put it too close or up against the throat. I've had this happen before where I put it against my throat and I get kind of a little dizzy. So at that moment I was like, okay, that's what I've done. But then I did it again and I kind of racked it in such a way that was a bit further away, and I still kind of felt a little dizzy, but it wasn't as bad. Did the rep, and I just turned to the cameraman. I said, I think I'm done, man. Like, and even now, even all these hours after, so what, like 2 hours after the workout now it is, I still kind of feel lethargic, weak, and whatever. And so I think what is a combination of factors. Obviously, in that moment, I lost my blood pressure. I lost my sugar level probably. I would have loved in that moment to do my BSL, my blood sugar level, to see, how low it got. Obviously, a 16-hour fast, it wasn't a hardcore fast. I had, like I mentioned, I had that rock melon, a few pieces of rock melon, but I don't think that's a whole lot of sweetness in there or sugar or whatever. So, and then the 3x3 deadlift basically took the last bit of sugar that was floating around, and then I started feeling really woozy. Now I had a big meal, and so now I'm feeling the effects of that. So now, the blood is being diverted into the GI system, gastrointestinal system, and away from my brain, and maybe that's why I feel woozy now. But yeah, I mean, this is something that I've spoken about before, man. Deadlifts feel natural to me, but God, do they tax the living hell out of you, man. Especially these deficits, man. You feel like you're pulling for days. And the requirement of the core, the lower back, all that is just very, very taxing. But I've never had this pre-syncopal type thing happen at the gym. like this, you know. Yeah, sure, I've front racked incorrectly and I've felt dizzy, but the moment you unrack that position, you start feeling well again. Well, I didn't. I started continue to feel bad. So that tells me that that front rack position wasn't the sole reason for me feeling that unwell. Now I can already hear a lot of you guys say, "Come on, man, you can't be doing that 16-hour freaking fast going into a hard deadlift session." I've done it many times before. Like I've done a lot of squatting. Now, granted, I will say this: when I do have a 16-hour fast or like a prolonged period of not eating, I don't do volume. Okay, so I might have top end strength, but I have no reserve. Obviously, that makes sense. I don't have any reserve to put in lots of volume. That kind of makes sense. There's no fuel. So maybe the 3x3. And initially, I thought 3x3 is not too much, but it's a lot. It's a lot on a freaking empty stomach. It's a lot, you know, coming from a 5-hour, sleep from a night shift and a whole bunch of things that happened. Initially, I had plans to go to the gym much sooner, but then we got redirected. Actually, a whole bunch of you guys have been asking me, where's my Evo? Well, that's where I went today. I went to the mechanic to get my Evo. I said it to a few of you guys. The second gear let go. I broke the second gear somehow. I wasn't pushing it at all. I was just driving normally a few weeks ago, probably 4 weeks ago. Parked the car at the gym. It was fine. Got out, got in the car, was getting out of the car park, got onto the main road, and the second gear started making all sorts of sounds. So then I drove it home, skipping the second gear, all the way home. Rang the mechanic, and he was like, "Yeah, you got to tow that thing in." And then I waited three weeks to get, a free moment with him, and so he repaired it today. And that's where I went today to pick it up. And so, is the car finished? Isn't the car finished? So I thought about going to the gym first and then going to him. Ended up going to him first, blah, 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 and then to the gym. I'm boring you guys with the details, but essentially, a night shift, lack of sleep, lack of food, a whole bunch of things that I had to kind of do before the gym, and it's like, 5 o'clock at night, 5 p.m. in the afternoon, and I'm doing this thing, and I don't know. It's probably bad playing on my end, but it just kind of, the day unfolded in such a way that I didn't think it was going to be like that. But anyway, so hopefully over the course of tonight, next few hours, I'm going to try and eat some food, and get my blood sugar level and my blood pressure up. But it's a scary thing. I've seen a whole bunch of people, man. I'm sure all of us have seen people in the front rack or the back rack position, or even after deadlifts, and faint, and I guess when the thing is in your hands, like in a deadlift, it's not so worrying. But man, when the thing is on your back or front rack, like if you fall backwards in a front squat, man, like depends how you fall and where you fall, but that thing could like hurt you, right? At the time I was like, shit, somebody turn the lights off, quickly go to the rack. But it's scary. It's scary stuff. And so my workout basically today was just deadlifts. Deadlifts, and then I did 3 sets of front squats, the bar, 60 and 100. And that was it. And I'm spent. So I'm looking forward to sleep tonight. Looking forward to getting some quality sleep. It's incredible, like, we've spoken about this in the past, the effects of and the importance, I guess, of sleep, lack of sleep. It's, I think a lot of us don't appreciate how important sleep is. Obviously, I slept 5 hours, which is not enough, even if I slept in the middle of the night. But I had those 5 hours from 8 o'clock a.m. to basically midday. So the quality of that sleep was crap. I woke up twice to go to the toilet. And a lot of you guys are like, oh, why do you go to the toilet, so often? Well, I don't know if you guys know much about cortisol level and, there's all these hormones in the body which they're tied in. I don't want to get too deep with it, but they're tied in with the cortisol, right? I could turn it into a freaking lecture, medical lecture, but essentially the hormones responsible for making you go to sleep, there's a cascade of things which make you retain water. So, you stay up doing a night shift. I guess I'll explain it like this. So cortisol level is a stress hormone. This turned into a freaking medical thing, but cortisol is a stress hormone. Throughout the day, the stress hormone, this whole cortisol level goes from a high to a low. And the reason why we go to sleep and feel sleepy is because we have the least amount of cortisol level in our blood, and therefore we fall asleep. But what happens when you do a night shift? Yes, you're sleepy and you push your body throughout, the cortisol level drops, And then you kind of continue pushing yourself, and there's like a feedback mechanism, there's like a cascade of things that happen which make you retain water. You start getting really thirsty. So you drink water throughout the night. That's like one of the known things that we all kind of get thirsty during a night shift. And then you finally get to bed at 8 o'clock in the morning, and all that water wants to leave now, right? Because cortisol level is now slowly starting to pick up. It basically peaks in the morning, and that's what kind of wakes you up, cortisol level. It's kind of why you wake up. So it's like a long explanation to explain to you, no, I don't have cardiac failure, or I don't have renal failure, or whatever you want to say. It's just the fact of a night shift, and that's the effect. And a lot of us, that do shift work, experience this stuff. The bladder wakes you up. Yes, one way to go about this is to not drink water throughout the night shift. But how good is that? You are lack of sleep, dehydrated, with a plan to sleep a lot. And so then you wake up dry as a chip, and then you have to down 50 liters of water. Anyway, that's kind of why I do what I do, and this is why I drink a lot of water, and it's why I wake up. So the quality of sleep that you get, it's suboptimal because, you're sleeping throughout the day, and you're waking up because of all these other feedback mechanisms that you're basically paying back as a result of the night shift. So I don't know if you guys wanted to know that or not, but just speaking out loud, why I have shit sleep between night shifts. Now, some days, like if it's, say, my last night shift and I didn't have anything to do or whatever, I would literally wake up, do those toilet breaks, and continue to sleep all day. Get 6, 7, 8 hours or whatever. But even then, you wake up feeling crap because it's such a disturbed sleep. It's, you should be sleeping between the hours of 9 p.m. and 5 a.m., right? That's where you should be sleeping. That's the quality. So if you go to bed at midnight, you're costing yourself 3 hours of good quality sleep. We shouldn't be sleeping while the sun is out. The explanations for that are vast and many, and I'm not the expert for that. But sleeping at night is key. It's a fundamental. The importance of sleep is paramount. There's lots of guys out there who talk about it a lot better than me, but just appreciate that sleep is big. And so all of these factors rolled into me feeling the way I felt today and what I felt today. But anyway, tomorrow the next few days I've got days off, so I'll try and sleep 10 hours tonight if I can. It's hard. And try and get my clock back in order. But yes, shift work is a freaking disaster for your biology, especially if you're trying to get your biology to be supernatural in the sense of more than normal. You want to be squatting 4, 5, 6, 7 plates. You can't be doing normal things. You have to be taking care of all this stuff. And sleep for a natural athlete and against enhanced people, probably more so for a natural athlete, you have to take care of your sleep. That is the number one thing that is the most, let's say, anabolic, right? Sleep is anabolic, water is anabolic, food is anabolic, and sleep is a third of our life. You have to take care of that. But we also have to make a living and provide for our families, and so there's lots of different things that impact us, and this is why we always say a lot of us are not professional athletes. The performance for today is very subpar, but that's life. I don't have a manager to go pick my car up, and I don't have a big contract that can provide for my family and pay off the mortgage and whatnot. Anyway, most of us in this community find ourselves in the same predicament, and so we all share the troubles of trying to get stronger while also being a regular Joe. Appreciate all of you guys in the comments on Patreon, on Instagram, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Hopefully a better day tomorrow. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.